A criminal empire controls the shadows of Japan's biggest cities. An empire where loyalty is bought with blood, where enemies don't just disappear, they're erased. A place where even the smallest betrayal can cost your life. The Yakuza aren't just a relic of the past. They're still here, hidden in plain sight, shaping entire industries without anyone noticing. Well, unless you get in their way. Today, we'll explore their rise to power, their brutality, rituals, the influence they have over business in Japan. Their influence exists in sectors where you would least expect. The Yakuza's story is older than you think. Over 400 years ago, in the 1600s, Japan was transforming from the chaos of the Sengoku era into the more stable society under the Tokugawa shogunate. But stability didn't mean peace for everyone. Out of this upheaval, two types of men began to organize: the Tekiya, peddlers of stolen goods, and the Bakuto, illegal gamblers. They began to organize when Japan's central authority was relatively weak. They formed structured groups for protection, offering services to local authorities in exchange for the right to operate. Their system of hierarchy, protection, and territory management became a model for modern Yakuza groups. This was only the beginning, though. The modern Yakuza, the one we know today, emerged as Japan entered the 20th century, and no leader left a mark quite like Taoka Kazuo. Taoka was born in 1913 in the rural fishing village of Ibogawa in the Hyogo prefecture, a world away from the bright lights of Kobe. Orphaned as a child, Taoka grew up in the streets, learning quickly that survival in Japan's underworld demanded brutality. By his 20s, he had joined the Yamaguchi-gumi, a gang that had started as a dockworkers union. But it wasn't enough to just survive. Taoka had ambition. He worked his way up the ranks, and in 1946, just after the end of World War II, he took control of the Yamaguchi-gumi. The black market flourished, and gangs seized power in the chaos of post-war Japan. Under his leadership, the Yamaguchi-gumi didn't just grow, it dominated. Taoka Kazuo earned the nickname the Bear for a reason. His reign was built on fear. Rival gangs were torn apart, and anyone who crossed him suffered the consequences. One of Taoka's most infamous methods was eye gouging. If someone betrayed him, it wasn't enough to just kill them. He had to send a message that would be remembered forever. His enemies were left disfigured, living reminders of what happens when you cross the Yamaguchi-gumi. But it wasn't just violence that built Taoka's empire. He was a strategist. He expanded the Yamaguchi-gumi into legitimate businesses, entertainment, real estate, even construction. Under his command, the syndicate was no longer just a gang. It became an empire, hidden in plain sight, thriving on both fear and respect. Taoka Kazuo turned the Yamaguchi-gumi into Japan's most powerful and feared crime syndicate, an empire that, even after his death, would continue to control the shadows of modern Japan. For the Yakuza, survival wasn't just business. It was a brutal struggle for power. After Taoka Kazuo died in 1981, the question of who would succeed him began to tear the gang apart. A top lieutenant, Hiroshi Yamamoto, left the Yamaguchi-gumi to form his own organization, the Ichiwa Kai, and started the Yama-Ichi War between the Yamaguchi-gumi and the Ichiwa Kai. It wasn't a fight for territory. This was a fight for survival. From 1985 to 1989, Japan was plunged into one of the bloodiest gang wars in its history. Over 200 armed attacks, assassinations in broad daylight, and battles that turned entire neighborhoods into war zones, far from the safe Japan that we know today. The violence was so extreme that ordinary citizens were caught in the crossfire. No one was safe. But this wasn't just about bullets. The Yakuza went further, smuggling rocket launchers from Hawaii, ready to escalate the fight to terrifying new levels. Their plan was to blow up a rival boss's headquarters. And the worst part? They almost succeeded. In a moment that felt more like a twisted action movie than real life, the Yakuza's brazen use of military-grade weapons shocked the public and revealed just how far they were willing to go. Rocket launchers, assault rifles, explosives, smuggled in from as far away as Hawaii. They weren't just dealing with street-level crime anymore. They were stockpiling military-grade weapons. But when caught, their defense in court was one of the most bizarre in legal history. My client was not intending to use the rocket launchers for violence. They were planning to hire Michael Jackson for a concert, and the weapons were for security. Yes, you heard that right. The defense claimed that rocket launchers were part of a security detail for a Michael Jackson concert that never happened. For years, these weapons were funneled through a complex network of contacts stretching from Southeast Asia to the United States, and were used to fuel gang wars and violence on a scale that Japan had never seen before. But no matter how serious the charges, the Yakuza always found a way to turn the courtroom into a stage for theatrics. All jokes aside, by the time the dust settled in 1989, the Yama-Ichi War left hundreds dead, and the balance of power in Japan's underworld had shifted forever. The Yama-Ichi War left scars, not just on the Yakuza, but on the entire nation. Loyalty in the Yakuza isn't just expected, it's demanded, and it's sealed in blood. Every member is marked, body and soul, with symbols of their commitment. These tattoos, known as irezumi, are a lifelong vow, a permanent reminder of who they serve and what they've sacrificed. But the ink is just the beginning. The true initiation comes with the blood oath. In a ritual as old as the Yakuza itself, the initiate drinks from a shared cup of sake, a symbol of brotherhood. But it's more than a promise. It's a contract, one that can only be broken by blood. Disloyalty can mean exile, or worse. In the Yakuza, honor is everything, and once lost, it can never be regained. So, just what happens when the code is broken? For members of the Yakuza, words alone carry little weight. Loyalty, repentance, these are not proven with mere promises, but with tangible, painful sacrifices. Yubitsume, literally translated as finger shortening, stands as one of the Yakuza's most intense and deeply symbolic rituals. A member who has erred, brought dishonor to their family, or displayed disloyalty must offer a part of themselves as a sincere apology. One finger, one fragment of your soul. A sacrifice that echoes louder than any spoken apology ever could. It's a permanent, irrevocable statement to one's commitment and remorse. The missing fingertip serves as an everlasting mark, a stark reminder of loyalty lost, and the hard-earned respect regained through pain and sacrifice. It is a badge of honor, a visible symbol of redemption. It's not merely about enduring pain. It's about honor and the extraordinary lengths to which a Yakuza member will go to atone for their mistakes, to reclaim their place within the family, and to uphold the sacred traditions of their world. For some, Yubitsume is a one-time punishment, a singular act of atonement. For others, it's a recurring ordeal, repeated until nothing remains but the memory of their transgressions. Each finger cut is a public display of loyalty to the boss, to the family, and to the unwritten code that binds them all together. This code was strong enough to bind together a juggernaut of an organization that could exert its impact on all facets of society. Beneath Japan's booming economy, the Yakuza built an empire. They quietly infiltrated powerful industries using front companies, legitimate businesses masking illegal operations. Yakuza-affiliated companies secured government contracts, took over projects, and laundered money through real estate, expanding the criminal underworld's influence. These tactics were effective due to their subtlety. Companies appeared legitimate, but were secretly part of the Yakuza machine, laundering dirty money. Through these fronts, they became business owners, landlords, and power brokers, controlling billion-dollar industries. This was more than a takeover. It was a transformation. They blurred legal and illegal lines, making it difficult to discern legitimate businesses from the criminal empire. It's 10 p.m. in Kabukicho. Beneath the flashing neon lights and polished glamour of Japan's nightlife lies a world most Western patrons never see. One of the businesses under Yakuza control are the kyabakura. They are cabaret clubs where young hostesses provide not just drinks, but attention and conversation. While the hostesses entertain inside, the Yakuza ensure that business runs smoothly. In exchange for what they call protection, Yakuza collect hefty monthly payments, known as Mikaji-ryo, from club owners. For these cabaret clubs, protection means keeping out troublemakers, ensuring that patrons pay their tabs, and shielding the business from any unwanted attention. If a drunk customer refuses to pay or causes problems, the Yakuza step in, often with a show of force to handle the situation. Their presence alone is enough to keep most patrons in line. But this protection comes at a price. Refusing to pay Mikaji-ryo can mean the Yakuza themselves become the problem, sending enforcers to disrupt the club, damage property, or scare away customers. It's an unspoken rule in Japan's nightlife. Either you pay the Yakuza to protect your business, or you risk losing everything. In some cases, the Yakuza's control extends even deeper. Some have direct ties to the clubs themselves, recruiting hostesses, supplying staff, and even using the clubs as fronts for money laundering. The cash-heavy nature of these businesses makes them perfect for cleaning money gained from illegal activities. For the owners of kyabakura, the Yakuza are both their protectors and their biggest threat, an invisible hand guiding the business from behind the scenes. But once they're in, it's nearly impossible to break free from their grip. You think the Yakuza only control seedy nighttime businesses? Think again. In the world of corporate Japan, they found a way to control entire industries without ever leaving the boardroom. It's called sokaiya, a clever form of corporate extortion. The Yakuza buy up shares of publicly traded companies, then use their position as shareholders to disrupt meetings, intimidate executives, and manipulate decisions. It's about power, leverage. With strategically acquired shares and a whispered threat, they can bring even the most powerful corporations to their knees. Refuse to cooperate? Embarrassing scandals get leaked, stock prices plunge, and for those who don't take the hint, the threats become personal. As an example, in 1997, Nomura Securities, Japan's largest and most prestigious brokerage firm, was implicated in a sokaiya scandal. The Yakuza obtained incriminating details about internal issues or scandals at Nomura. Before a major shareholder meeting, the Yakuza would demand payment, threatening to raise these issues in front of other shareholders or the media, potentially causing chaos and swinging stock prices and public perception. Nomura was found to have paid a sokaiya, or Yakuza-connected figure, around 200 million yen, or approximately $2 million, to keep him from disrupting shareholder meetings. The Yakuza were rewarded handsomely through backdoor deals, bribes, or simply by watching their investments grow as they pulled the strings. In some cases, they didn't even have to show up in person. Just the idea of the Yakuza's involvement was enough to force companies into compliance. The Yakuza once ruled cities from the shadows, but Japan has fought back since. New laws targeting their finances and recruitment have slashed membership by nearly 70% since the 1990s. Yet, the Yakuza persist. They've survived centuries of crackdowns, adapting to new challenges. Today, they operate discreetly, focusing on front companies, stock market manipulation, and real estate. Tattoos are hidden, no longer needed. They blend in as businessmen, their crimes concealed behind legal facades, evading law enforcement. Despite dwindling numbers, their influence endures. They still control billions through shell companies and illicit networks. The Yakuza have evolved to survive eradication, but can they ever vanish completely? Called relics of the past, relics have a way of enduring long after their time seems gone. The Yakuza's story isn't over. Even now, their influence lingers in the shadows, woven into the fabric of modern Japan. But the question remains, will they ever truly disappear? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're curious about the underside of Japan, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more stories about Japan's underworld. Thanks for watching.